you should stop tuning in right now if you are looking for get-rich-quick products. Okay, it will not get you filthy rich.
Jeff Yeo, co-founder of Big Tiny Group. Big Tiny has turned tiny homes into a movement, showing that sustainable living can be both comfortable and stylish. In 2018, they won the Emerging Enterprise Asia Award for being the most promising startup, and they were on the same stage together with Carousel, Mighty Jacks, XM Studios, and FOMO Pay.
I'm on a mission to make every city dweller stay in a tiny house of ours while minimizing the impact of tourism on the environment and still being able to profit from it as well.
And how many tiny homes you have in total right now?
Probably 400-500 all over the world. It's about encouraging city dwellers to reconnect with nature, ensuring that our guests have an experiential accommodation space in all the nice scenic areas that we have. I think I'm your average, very normal, low profile, void deck soccer kicking kid. I always believe in doing something that is beneficial to all parties whenever possible, beneficial to the community, beneficial to the people I sell to, beneficial to the environment and all that.
Let's talk about COVID.
When situations like COVID happen, it actually cuts out the source of business completely. We decided to make the painful decision of closing the holiday rental site of Big Tiny.
And what would you say to business owners who also have a dream like you?
It's about how you can still push through despite the odds being stacked up against you.
All right, Jeff.
Hey.
So just now we were talking about how you got your first tiny house on Lazarus Island. Right? Let's talk about COVID, right? Because it was a sensitive period of time for a lot of business owners.
Yep.
So what happened to Tiny House or Big Tiny Group as a whole during COVID, and how they affected your business?
Okay, I would say this one is something that's really memorable and probably can count as a milestone as well, because just slightly before COVID spiraled out of control around the world, my entire company was actually in Sydney, where we were having a tiny house festival, and we actually had about 9,000 people attend the festival.
Wow.
But we were lucky in the sense that we were able to make it back to Singapore before anything happened further. But of course, with that spiraling out of control, for the safety of our land partners, because we won't know where our guests have come from, we decided to make the painful decision of closing the holiday rental site of Big Tiny. And basically that resulted in us having no rental revenue.
Yeah.
We also made the hard decision after weighing our options to decide to evoke the force majeure clause for our asset management program because it's actually declared as a pandemic by the World Health Organization, which falls into the force majeure clause itself, but not because we wanted to evade our responsibilities of paying our clients, but what we saw was, I would say, us wanting to make sure that the business is sustainable over this period of time, because when COVID first hit, nobody knew, not even us, of course, not to say that we're superior, but I don't think anybody knew how long this whole thing is going to stretch out, or what's the situation going to be like going forward. So that was a point in time where we decided, okay, we would freeze the monthly payouts for our client. We will be honest with our clients to tell them that we are freezing because we have no income. And there's the other way out is we could continue paying the monthly payout even though we're not receiving any rental income, and hope that the pandemic ends before the company goes bankrupt or we go bankrupt. But we decided that if in that situation the company goes bankrupt, although yes, the clients still own the tiny houses, but there'll be probably lots of hassles involved in selling it and all that. Not really lots of hassle, but comparatively more hassle, because our program is all about being hassle-free and all that, right? So what we decided to do in the end was to call each and every one of our clients, explain the situation to them that we are in, and then get prepared to be scolded. Yes, but we would rather that than the whole business fail.
Yeah.
And everybody is, I think, caught in a rut. So the surprising thing back then was that even though we did a 7-month payout, what we did was to extend the lease by a further 7 months so that all the people actually get back what they duly deserve, and which is the 7 months of delay in the payment lah.
So to be very specific, you all froze the payout for 7 months,
Yes.
right? Then continue when the COVID restrictions were less,
Yep.
and continue pay the missing 7 months beyond their contract.
Correct.
Okay.
To make sure that they get what they deserve lah. So that was the game plan back then. We were prepared to be scolded very badly. But the very heartwarming thing, and I guess the thing that also sets us apart from other, I guess, businesses is that we don't see our clients as just a number. We see them as friends or people who believe in us earlier on in the game. So when we broke the news to them about the freeze in the money payout, the surprising thing was a lot of them were like, it's okay, we understand, we support you, we are behind you, let's ride this through together.
Wow.
So that was really heartwarming, and we felt like we did something right for this business itself, that we have the support of the people. I mean, of course, there's a minority who are unhappy with it.
Yeah.
But basically, I would say we did what we could do best in that kind of situation to address the pandemic. Yeah.
At that situation, at that point in time, right, were there people that requested for their investment to be withdrawn?
Yes. So during that very difficult time, there were a couple of clients who also had difficulties where, they were retrenched. And then there was this particular client whose father was diagnosed with a terminal illness as well.
Oh, no.
So they had no choice but to terminate their contract. But of course, for us, because we see that it's difficult times for all, we try to help as we can. So we actually deal with such cases on a case-by-case basis, instead of course, considering it a breach of contract and then really pushing the terms down on these people. Yeah.
So for that poor man, I believe he got his money back.
He got the full buyback amount back, but of course, there were some penalties lah. But not very severe for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So based on that, right, what happened right after? I mean, after the 7 months, it was still COVID because COVID lasted kind of like 2 years, right?
Correct.
So how they impacted the hospitality business and how they all recovered?
Okay, so basically we started the hospitality business again when the lockdown restrictions were lifted. Okay, so we continued renting it out. But we were expecting the demand to be lower. But interestingly, because of cabin fever, because I think everybody's sick of getting locked up, we saw actually a 200 to 300% increase in the number of bookings. Yeah. So that actually caused the revenue to spike up. And I think the government also did an amazing job, because similar to Singapore, where we're giving discovery vouchers back then, Australia was doing the same thing. So the Australians were actually able to use those vouchers to pay for their stay with us, which I guess further boosted the business.
Wow.
And then because we monitor the occupancy rate religiously every month and stuff like that, we were initially thinking that this spike may not last because, cabin fever, so people were doing revenge traveling, revenge staycations and all that. But the interesting trend that we saw is that the demand for stays in tiny houses continue to rise even till today.
Wow.
Yeah, correct.
So rise further than the 200%. Wow.
So it's really a upward line.
Macro trend. I see.
Yeah.
I mean, after you describe your experience at Lazarus Island, I also feel like booking it already.
Yeah, you should.
To try the Toma ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after this saga, right, what were some good parts of the business that made you go like, okay, further convicted and ready to scale it to the next level?
I guess it's the increase in demand for the tiny houses, I would say. Then basically also how we were able to change the lives of some of the land partners that we were working with, because some of them were hit like perhaps with prolonged periods of drought and everything, but they could actually get rental revenue from our side of the business,
right,
by hosting the guests as well. So this actually cemented the fact that this business definitely has potential. It is not a fad, but it is a trend that is set to, I guess, continue on further. Because back to the same point that I made about the ecotourism travel and all that, like, for example, people are still definitely very price conscious. Like, if I were to give you an example, like you need to pay $500 for a eco-conscious stay versus $300 for a normal stay, for example, at Four Seasons.
Yeah.
People will go for the $300 for sure. But what we're trying to do here again is to just lower that entry barrier. So pricing our stays competitively enough that people would give it a shot. So they may or may not know that they are doing their part for the environment, which is what we're trying to do, is minimizing the impact of tourism on the environment. But that's something that they're actually doing their own part for, whether they know it or not. Yeah, by staying in our accommodation. Yeah.
And were there any 贵人in your life, in your business life?
Definitely a lot in terms of the 贵人 that we've met throughout the business itself, like Mr. Ko Boon Hui, for example, who is our shareholder now officially. So when he came on board in 2021, he came in actually at a market valuation cap of 30 million Sing, which I thought lended a lot of credibility. And I would say that it was an honor, because for an established businessman like him to actually think that, our business is worth investing in, it was a confidence booster.
Yeah.
And he's a very amazing mentor, because he always gives us all the help that we needed and introduces us to his partners as well. Yeah, to aid us in the business.
Amazing. And I believe he is the chairman of SGX. Wow. And a person like that who invested in your business.
Correct. And a lot of very powerful titles when he's younger as well. Yeah, back in the days.
Just to crank some numbers, what does a valuation of market cap at 30 million means?
Okay, means, like, for example, remember the angel round that we were talking about?
Yeah.
So back then, that was us selling our equity shares, 10% equity shares for 200K. So you multiply that by 10, it meant that Big Tiny was valued at 2 million in 2017.
Right.
So that valuation actually jumped 15x to 30 million market cap valuation in 2021.
Wow. And what's your revenue figure, if you're open to share?
So the revenue figure for 2023 was about 20 to 30 million.
Oh, hitting already soon.
Yeah, so the valuation is higher even now. That's why my keyword was the 30 mil market cap valuation was 2021.
I see.
So you talk about today, probably we are between 60 to 80. Yeah.
And what's your aspiration for the business? Because right now you are at about 400 to 500 tiny houses.
So I guess for us, we have never stopped curating interesting sites for our guests.
Yeah.
So our vision will probably to have tiny houses all around the world with more and more interesting experiences. And of course, us being part of the memories of our guests who have stayed with us as well. Yeah.
Is there a target goal that you guys are looking at?
We're looking hopefully to get about 5,000 keys by 2026, means operating 5,000 tiny houses by then. Because for us, other than the tiny houses which are on singular sites itself, we have also a larger scale, more communal setting tiny house resort, which we are operating under the brand of Tiny Away Escapes. So we have one of the escape in the Grampians region in Victoria. So Tiny Away Escape at Grampians Edge, where we have about 30 tiny houses on site.
Wow.
And then there's communal facilities like a recreation room where we have an 80-inch TV. We have a kitchen there, pool tables, a lot of barbecue pits sport all around. And most importantly, with the Grampians, the mountain area as your backdrop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we are opening up 2 more really soon. So, do keep a lookout for it.
Are there any exciting countries that you can review right now?
Yes. So something that a lot of our clients have been asking for, Japan will be coming up soon.
Love Japan.
Yes, that's right. So that's one of the new exciting countries we are expanding into.
All right, I want to crank some numbers for the investor community, because I think they form a very integral part of your business as well. Right. So for a typical investor who wants to buy a tiny house, right, what are the investment amounts and the returns that you're looking at?
So we have currently 2 tiny house models for sale. The single level unit called Reyes is available at 90,000 Singapore dollars. Then we have another unit that comes with a loft that can sleep 2+2. So Reyes sleeps 2 comfortably. The other one with a loft is called Jolene model, and it can sleep 2+2, and that is going for 125K. So both are Singapore dollars. Okay, so after you buy the tiny house itself, you own the house in perpetuity. Okay, but what we offer is a management scheme whereby we lease the tiny house back from you as the owner.
Okay.
And if you decide to lease your house to us for 2 years, what we pay you is a 8% per annum return. If you rent it to us or lease it to us for a longer period of time, for 5 years, we actually pay a 10% per annum return. Because of the longer runway, we have more things to play with, so we are able to pay you a higher rate of return. And this 8 or 10% is divided by 12 and then paid out on a monthly basis. So all you have to do is basically to wait 3 months lead time for us to produce the house, because all the houses are built brand new.
Yeah.
And then on the third or latest fourth month, you actually start actually earning your rental lease rates from us.
On a monthly basis where you see the money go into your bank.
Correct.
Wow. Way better than fixed D.
Yeah, way better than fixed D, because we pay it out and then you actually own a tangible asset, which is the tiny house itself. And that is actually something that has a market value as well, because tiny houses are not new in Australia. So that is the assurance that we give our clients, because they own that house. They are not investing the 90K or 125K into funding the operations of Big Tiny, which is a very different thing altogether, because that would be, I would say, high risk, because if Big Tiny were to liquidate one day, for example, your 90 or 125K will be gone.
Yeah.
But in this case, even if Big Tiny is out of the game, you still own the house, which if you want to get back the capital, you can sell it. Or the cleverer way, for example, would be to actually connect with the land partner where your house is and carry on with the profit share, because you can definitely get more than 10% per annum.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what happens after the 2-year or 5-year lease?
So after the 2 years or 5 years lease, what happens is that you can, number one, if you are still happy with the 8 or 10% returns, you can renew your lease further with us at no extra cost, because remember, the house is yours to begin with. So what we have to do in this case is just to sign a new renewal lease agreement. That's option one. Option two is maybe after 2 years or 5 years, you are thinking about buying a BYD or a Tesla, for example, to catch up with the electric car rates, right? You can also exercise the buyback option. So the buyback option is incorporated into the legal documents we sign, governed by Singapore laws, of course. And what happens is that we will actually buy your tiny house back from you at the same purchase price. So if you bought it from us at 90K, we'll buy it back at 90K.
And that is guaranteed as per the clause itself.
That's right.
I see.
Yeah.
So what happens if I want to renew? Do I have to pay any money for that?
No.
Oh, it just renews on and on.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So I believe your business has been operating for 7 years, right? I believe some clients have already renewed multiple times.
That's right.
So how often do they renew? What was your renewal rate like?
Our renewal rate is quite high. I think it will be 80 to 90%.
Wow.
Yeah. So most of the clients, they are really happy because, there are instances where the stock market is not doing well. So I do have people, my clients also texting me to say that, oh, hey, Jeff, your tiny house is the only thing that is still green in color. The rest are all red.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So it's something that is really, I guess, stable. We've mitigated the risk to a very, very low level in that sense as well. So yeah, this is something that I think a lot of Singaporeans who love property, for example, would like, because the opportunity gap we saw back then was also how tiny houses, they are not regulated as property. They are actually regulated more as caravans. So it's like you're buying a motorhome or a car, for example. So it doesn't attract any overseas property taxes.
Right.
Doesn't affect your property count. So there's no ABST even you buy 1,000 tiny houses from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's the advantage of owning a caravan versus a home other than property tax?
Okay, I'll say I will liken it to our own product. So if you buy a tiny house from us, basically we take the hassle out of everything. So also written into the legal documents we sign would be how we will undertake the maintenance and any repair works at our own expense. So basically all you have to do is think it through, you're happy, you sign the agreement, you buy the house, 3 to 4 months later, you start getting all the lease payouts from us.
Yeah.
2 years or 5 years later, if you're happy, you renew. If not, you can exercise buyback or give the money back to you. You won't be hearing from us, except for the monthly newsletter that we send out to share the latest developments of the company. So you won't be expecting calls in the middle of the night from your tenants, for example, if you're buying a property like, oh, my hot water is not working. Can you come and repair it? You know, your fridge is spoiled. Do you want us to repair it or replace it totally? So all these are actually taken care of by us, which actually lifts quite a huge load off the owner of the tiny house.
At no cost to the tiny house owner.
Correct.
Wow.
So if you buy the tiny house from us, the 90K or the 125K is net, and that's the only amount that you pay us. So whether you decide to renew, whether you decide to exercise buyback, there's no more cost. So everything is highly transparent. Yeah.
I think it's truly an example of how it benefits many parties, right, in a very favorable way.
Correct.
Right. So not only the investors get a very hassle-free experience, right, that is guaranteed by legal documents, by the legal standing of the company, but also because of the business model, it is very safe and sustainable over the long run.
Exactly.
And you also benefit the land partners who are working with you. So this is what I call almost like a flywheel, where each benefits kind of feed into one another, and that helps to escalate the whole growth of the business and the ecosystem.
Yes, that's right. Because I think for us, we are always aiming at doing a long-term business. So we're really having a long-term relationship with our clients as well. So that's what we aim to do. So to basically make sure that everybody wins in this business model of ours.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing about that. Like, based on your experience with your clients and investors as well, right? Who are great for this product, and what kind of benefits have they been getting so far as an investor?
Okay, I would say that you should stop tuning in right now if you are looking for get-rich-quick products. Okay, it will not get you filthy rich. It will be a very good, I guess, monthly expense generator that is truly passive, without you having to lift a finger or to do any other stuff other than signing the documents. Okay, then I would say that for our clients, because we truly believe and enjoy the experience of staying in a tiny house, so clients who come on board, they will be entitled to a 30% discount of any of the tiny houses that we manage around the world. So not only the one that they own, but any, because I guarantee you a stay in one of our tiny houses is life-changing.
Wow.
You will love it. You will start maybe collecting tiny house stays by staying in all the houses one by one. So that is one of the benefits of being our client. Yeah.
Amazing. For those who are hearing and watching this, we're going to leave the links below. If you're interested to purchase a tiny house, or if you're interested to rent a tiny house for your next holiday, right, feel free to inquire more about that. Any other last messages that you want to share with the audience that are hearing this?
I would say, if you are slightly intrigued by this, doesn't harm you to find out more. Basically, we think that, you can do your part for the environment, and if you can profit from it too, why not?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what would you say to business owners who also have a dream like you, right, to set up a business that is sustainable and a win-win situation for everybody? What tip will you give to them?
I would say, I think maybe what I'm about to say will be a bit counterintuitive, but I would say don't think too much. You can do your basic research, but don't research so much that, your majority of time is spent researching and not taking any action. Because if you do not take any action, at the end of the day, the whole business will still remain as a concept. Because no plan, no business model is truly perfect. So it's about taking the first step, putting it out there, and then iterating it along the way. Of course, having the passion, the willpower to continue hustling for it, to keep it successful. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You are watching Man on a Mission.